everyone, Phyllis Serene here with phyllisraleigh.com. Wanted to talk to you about the three types of awakening. People are having various different experiences, and I want to tell you a little story about how I got started in this process of really having this physical, emotional, spiritual changes to my body. And it really started not the first time, but the second time I got cancer. And, first time we get cancer, we kind of go, oh, that's kind of a wake-up call. The second time you get it, going, I'm not paying attention. Okay, what do I need to do differently? However, what happened for me was I had decided after the first time I wasn't going to do chemo again because it really destroyed my immune system. And so I was going to look for the natural pathway of changing my life and changing the physical parts of my life. And for me, that meant getting off of sugar. And so when I went to a homeopath, when he checked me out, he said, you need to be 3 feet away from sugar. You're so sensitive to it. And that started me on a journey of weight just falling off my body. The first week I lost 9 pounds, and each week after that, 2 to 3 pounds just fell off just because I wasn't putting sugar in my body. It also made me realize when I was around sugar, I would get a headache, or if I was near it physically in the body, I would start getting pain in the body. So I realized that sensitivity, it was like a drug for me and that I needed to change. But on the good side, things that started happening was I could smell things differently. I could smell hormones and pheromones. I could smell when a woman was pregnant from 50 feet away. I could smell testosterone from a distance. And food started to taste very different for me. Plain lettuce was very sweet to me, and I went, wow, what a difference when you're not pumping a particular type of, let me call it drug, or it was my drug of choice for many years, into my body, how it allowed my senses to operate very differently. So from that, I learned my body was starting to change and look very differently. It looked differently, it felt differently, it responded differently. And that first awakening for me was very physical, from a change in not putting a particular drug in my system. So the first area I wanted to talk about is the physical. Now, often it can be a life trauma, like getting cancer, a near-death experience that just kind of jars you into a reality that you didn't expect. And you realize coming through on the other side gives you an opportunity to look at life and your choices differently. So it could be a loved one, a car wreck, something that makes your body go, wait, we got to do a little differently here. Things have changed. The second type of awakening, which I've also got to experience, was a Kundalini awakening. And Kundalini comes from the Indian tantric style of yoga, excuse me, and meditation. But it's really when the whole body is having a full body orgasm experience. It's an incredibly powerful experience that I experienced at a Burning Man event years ago. And such a powerful experience. It felt like, kind of like a cartoon where this light beam shone through the body and through the ears, and, that heat that comes through your nose and all the orifices of your body. Instinctively, I knew to ground that energy back into my body. And as I did, it felt like my body was getting back in alignment. I was able to connect my spiritual centers with my physical, my emotional, and my sexual centers. And things just simply made sense. So what I call that is that alignment of the body. And when we bring, and as the Kundalini is described, it's this serpent that goes through our back or through our spine that connects our body and our mind and the emotions. So a powerful tool in the awakening mechanisms or modalities. And then finally, the other options have been the native plant medicines that have been available to us. Many have heard of Ayaahuasca, which is a combination of a couple roots and bark from trees in Peru and other jungle native countries that are used to connect you with a deeper spiritual consciousness. You can connect with Mother Ayahuasca and really, I say, beings from the upper realms. Pachamama will come to you and talk to you, and other beings from those areas, and it can be a very life-altering experience. In Africa, iboga is another purgative type of medicine, like ayahuasca, that also really lets you look at ego and what's going on in your own body. And when you're able to separate yourself from ego, which meditation practices do quite well, you can look at the multidimensional selves of who you are. So awakening happens in stages, as I've talked about in other videos, and you want to pay attention to all of them. Because as we awaken, we become more aware. We are humans on an evolutionary track. I like to say as we're at humans 4.0 when we get rid of time and space. But we have access to the fifth dimension as well, which is allowing us to see a whole perspective of the universe and our role in it. And we're no longer just nation focused beings, or planetary beings, but universal beings connecting with all consciousness and all source. So as you go through these different stages or the different types of awakening, pay attention to your body and how you are emoting and instinctually feeling as you're going through those processes. There are symptoms with the body that I'll talk about at another time that you want to be aware of. Could be headaches. You may be more sensitive to things because your body is changing at the same time. You may need more sleep. You may need to be outside more and get grounded more and get more sun. Get in the waters and cleanse the body. So pay attention to those areas of your body that will call out. Not just listening to the prefrontal cortex that'll just talk incessantly. So that's what I've got. Make sure and follow me on YouTube and check me out on Facebook. And I thank you for watching. Namaste, y'all.